Why did a 63-year-old Indigenous man arrested in Darwin on minor alcohol offences die 3 hours after he was put in a lockup? The man from Yuendamu in Central Australia was arrested under the Northern Territory's controversial new paperless arrest powers, which allow police to arrest and detain people for 4 hours without charge. The man's family now wants to know exactly what happened in the Darwin watch house in those hours before he died. Jane Barden reports.
Desert possum. Desert possum dreaming.
This one's possum dreaming?
Possum dreaming, yeah. Desert possum.
It looks like the start of a normal day in Yuendamu, but Kuminjay Langdon's family are in mourning. One of his cultural sisters paints the possum and eagle dreaming areas outside their community, 300 kilometres from Alice Springs.
Eagle's footprints and eagle drinking water.
The family are in shock after the police announced their brother and son died in the Darwin Police Watch House 3 hours after being brought in on the 21st of May.
And a short time after 9 p.m. that evening, the male was noted to be unresponsive. Subsequent checks indicated he had passed away.
Like the hundreds of Indigenous people picked up by the police for drinking and sleeping rough in Darwin's streets and parks each month, Kuminjay Langdon had been arrested for minor liquor offences. One of his cultural brothers says he had a history of drinking heavily when away from his community.
Probably found some friends, or friends found him and dragged him away to a place where they normally do. Drink out on the long grass, and then the police arrested him.
Kuminjay Langdon had come to Darwin for medical treatment, but his cultural brother didn't know what for.
About his health, he did not tell everybody or the families. We didn't know till at that last couple of weeks of that he was going to Darwin.
I am aware that there was a pre-existing medical condition. Whether or not that pre-existing medical condition is actually or is linked to the death, well, that's a matter for the coroner to determine, and I'll wait his findings in relation to that matter.
In January 2012, another Central Australian man, Kuminjay Briscoe, died from intoxication and asphyxiation in the Alice Springs watch house. The coroner then recommended providing more nursing care in watch houses, which the police say has been addressed. On the night of the 21st of May, Kuminjay Langdon was brought here to the Darwin watch house. What happened next will be examined at an inquest in August.
We're not blaming anybody unless we get the answers through that inquest or police doing those kind of things without checking if they were sick or not, or have these kind of been through medications or anything like that.
The police say Kuminjay Langdon was twice examined by a nurse and checked regularly in his cell.
My understanding is that all necessary procedures that are followed normally were followed in this instance.
Kuminjay Langdon was detained under the government's controversial new paperless arrest law, which allows the police to detain people for 4 hours without charge.
I think the police arrested him without the proper warrant of arrest, or else a paperless arrest which is wrong.
The government defends the law as necessary.
The only thing that has changed is the nature of the police paperwork after the arrest. In the past, a large amount of paperwork had to be done, and now a smaller amount of paperwork has to be done, which enables police to get back out on the street as the public would expect.
The Indigenous Legal Service, which will represent the family at the inquest, is challenging the paperless arrest law in the High Court.
One of the basic lessons of the Royal Commission into Aboriginal Deaths in Custody was that we shouldn't be locking people up for minor offences, and that's what the paperless arrest regime does. We'd like to see people diverted from custody, and we'd like to see a health approach taken where people have got problems with alcohol and that sort of thing, rather than a punitive, hairy-chested, lock-them-up sort of approach, which leads to these sort of tragedies.
Well, you don't take a person to a sobering up shelter when they're charged with an offence. That is an exercise of protective custody.
The government argues its policies of mandatory alcohol rehabilitation and policing bottle shops with temporary beat locations are reducing problems.
And we are proud of our whole suite of alcohol interventions. But generally speaking, we have seen a sharp reduction across those centres where we've done the TBLs.
Rex Granitz and his family feel the Northern Territory government's alcohol policies didn't help their loved one and aren't helping their community. They think only solutions the community has helped to draw up will work.
Well, the government's got to come out and speak to the communities properly. The only time the government comes out to be recognised is when they want vote to get themselves in.
On the Possum Dreaming Hill outside Yuendamu, Rex Granitz explains he too was a drinker. Now an interpreter, mediator and preacher, he says he turned his life around himself.
I had to go out into the bush to get myself looked after by my ceremony and my culture, because my singing, dancing and all that just got me where I'm at.
Local football team murals painted by Kumanjay Langdon are some of the last physical reminders of him in Yuendamu.
He was a painter, a quiet fella, and he's left some things that, you know, through the walls or the paintings that you saw, that we always, when we go past or see that, it makes us think that he was a talented person.
Rex Granitz hopes the inquest will provide the answers the family need about their loved one's final hours.
Jane Barden reporting.